In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Hi guys! Forgive me, given the subject of today's video, I felt compelled to throw in a little Latin. So last year I watched all the Omen movies during my October marathon, so I decided this year I would rank them. I'm currently at the halfway mark of my marathon. I want to die. I want this month to be over. I don't know why I do this to myself. But anyway, time to rank the Omen films from worst to best, and it may have surprising results. In 5th place is The Omen, also known as The Omen 666. It was released in 2006 and is the 5th film in the Omen series. Directed by John Moore and written by David Seltzer, it's a remake of the 1976 film of the same name, where in it an American official realizes that his young son may literally be the devil incarnate. It's a remake, and while it changes the odd things here and there, it for the most part is an exact replica down to the dialogue. It's not original, it tries to appear darker and more gritty and gets too artistic, and in doing all this, it removes all the suspense that made the original so great. It feels like it's focused more on these artistic visuals than it is on the actual storyline, and even when it does focus on the storyline, it feels pointless because most of it is a carbon copy of the original. Mostly what I love is just watching David Lula's acting because I love him. In 4th place is Omen 3, The Final Conflict, also known as The Final Conflict. It was released in 1981 and is the 3rd installment in the Omen series. Directed by Graham Baker and written by Andrew Birkin, the film tells the progression of the now adult Damian Thorne to a position of earthly power set against the countdown to the Second Coming and attempts of a group of priests to kill the Antichrist. This film is good at continuing the story from the first film to this one. Each film takes place as Damian is growing up, so each film takes place during a different stage in his life, which is great in terms of storytelling and means there is great continuity from film to film, but it has so little actually going on, even less than the film that came before it. Though I do enjoy Sam Neill in the role of Damian, it's just underwhelming. The character exudes power, but he just comes across as a powerful businessman and politician. There's nothing about him that makes him feel like the son of the devil, even though he completely knows who his dad is and what role he has to play. Then there's the ending, which made me giggle. It was just too on the nose for my liking. Spoiler alert! Jesus shows up, and while we don't see his face, I don't think, or at least I can't remember, he is 100% dressed and appears looking like the stereotypical form of Jesus Christ we all know, and it's honestly hilarious. It felt like this very anticlimactic showdown that wasn't a showdown between the son of the devil and the son of God. In 3rd place is Damian Omen 2. Released in 1978, it's the 2nd installment in the Omen series. Directed by Don Taylor and Mike Hodges with a screenplay by Stanley Mann and Hodges from a story by Harvey Bernhard. It's set 7 years after the first film. Damian the Antichrist, now 13 years old, finally learns of his destiny under the guidance of an unholy disciple of Satan. Meanwhile, dark forces begin to eliminate all those who suspect the child's true identity. As a sequel, it's not all that great because not very much is going on story-wise. Again, I enjoy how it's a direct continuation, even down to the finer details. I think they missed a good opportunity to address the concept of nature versus nurture in this story, because when the film starts off, Damian's actually a fairly decent kid. He gets along with his cousin and his uncle. His aunt hates his guts though. And when he finds out who he is, he initially runs from it, not believing it or wanting to, which kind of demonstrates that Damian isn't inherently evil, and it's really all these outside influences and all these devil worshippers who are trying to guide him down that path. Eventually he accepts his birthright and his parentage and is fully prepared to play his part and fully embraces evil and does evil things. But I like that for a short time you could see a glimpse of him debating with himself if it's what he wants, and I wish the film had played on that angle a lot more, because we have all these characters so prepared to kill him just because of who his father is, but very few forces of good who are willing to give him a chance to be more than that. In 2nd place is The Omen. Released in 1976, it's the first film in the Omen series and is directed by Richard Donner and written by David Seltzer. It concerns a young child replaced at birth by American Ambassador Robert Thorne unbeknownst to his wife after their own son was murdered at the hospital, enabling the son of Satan to grow up with wealth and power. They are surrounded by mysterious and ominous deaths, unaware that the child Damian is the Antichrist. This is such a classic and it definitely holds up 40 years later. It all just works really well together. I love how the music by Jerry Goldsmith reminds me of Jaws, in the sense of when you hear this specific melody or song, you know shit is about to go down. Just an overall great film executed superbly. The story feels pretty tame, and then as the events unfold and we watch the father discover the truth about his son and what happened to his real son, each moment just becomes more and more ominous. That's a bit dense though, I will say that. My favourite scene in this film is when they discover the grave of his infant son who had been murdered just after birth so that Damian could take his place, and also when they find Damian's mother's grave and we learn that Damian was born from a jackal, which is freaky and cool, I think. And I like how in the second film they run a DNA test on him and he has jackal DNA. While Damian never does anything evil, evil just follows him, and there are a lot of nuts who will kill to protect him. Just an overall enjoyable film, though I do feel bad for the kid because he really hasn't a clue what the hell is going on and just randomly wakes up one night with his dad trying to kill him. In first place, shockingly, is Omen For The Awakening. This is the first time in one of my rankings where I haven't put the first film in first place, and even I'm shocked. This was released in 1991 and was a made-for-television fourth and final installment to the Omen series. It was intended to be the first of many television sequels, but that didn't pan out. Directed by George Montesi and Dominique Othenin-Girard and written by Brian Taggart and Harvey Bernard, it sees two attorneys adopt a mysterious orphan girl as their daughter, unaware she is the next Antichrist, next in line from Damian Thorne. I was actually surprised to have enjoyed this. It works because I think it pushes things a little further. The character of Delia is so much more menacing than Damian ever was, even as an adult. This little girl knows what she can do and she doesn't hold any punches. She is a complete sociopath. She hurts people and she likes to hurt people. She is evil to the core and doesn't give a shit, and I like that. With Damian, I never felt he was evil, just the child of it, but Delia is pure evil, and that kid does such a great job of playing the diabolical little girl. Spoilers as always. I think making her Damian's daughter is a brilliant way to connect it to the other films as opposed to just throwing in a random film with no link, but having her turn out to be the protector of the Antichrist, and the Antichrist is her twin baby brother, but she carried the embryo and the embryo was put in her adoptive mother and she gives birth to the Antichrist. Like, that part confuses the hell out of me. I still kind of like that it does in a weird way make sense, though I think the jackal part is cooler. But then it makes me sad that Delia wasn't actually the Antichrist. It's like this film had me totally believing she was and feeling that was cool because they always have the Antichrist be a boy and now it's a girl. And then they turn around and go, nah, she's just his protector, the Antichrist is still a boy. This film and The Omen were neck and neck for me, and what puts this over the edge was how evil and sadistic the little kid was. So that's my ranking. In all honesty, I would totally leave the fourth film and the original as a tie, and I've wanted to do that in other rankings, but I feel like it's cheating, and I'm sure on future viewing of these movies, I'd probably change my mind and put The Omen first, but for the time being, the fourth film comes first. So, time for me to go back to watching more horror movies than I can stand. I might turn into the Antichrist when this is over. Please comment below and tell me how you would rank these films if you have seen them all. Thank you as always to my patrons. Be sure to check out all the other horror Halloween related videos I've been posting this month. And until next time, may God have mercy on your soul.